Simple programming constructs in C language. The topics we will cover in simple programming constructs are conditional constructs and loop constructs. We have two constructs which will help us to check what are the conditions we need to check and how can we execute them. In conditional constructs, we have if-else, nested if-else and switch case. In loop constructs, we have while loop and the do-while loop and the for loop. Let's get into details one by one. Conditional constructs. Most of the conditional constructs in C are similar to those available in other third generation languages. Operators required for conditional constructs are: we usually check conditions C equals, or we either check if they are not equal, or they are less than, or they are greater than, or they are greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. These are the basic conditions we check during any programs. In if-else, we have the conditional construct that helps to check a single condition and executes the statement. We can execute only one statement checking only one condition. So the syntax follows: if condition, if, and then the condition within parenthesis, and the statement that needs to be executed if it is true, and else the statements that needs to be executed if it is false. Here follows the flowchart. Any C language program has an algorithm and a flowchart. The flowchart follows: if condition true, if it is true, it will execute the statements. If it is false, it will execute the respective statements. Here is an example of a simple if statement. Here we ask the end user to enter a character. Then it will check if the entered character is a capital A and will respectively display as character entered is A if it is A, else it will display character entered is not A. So the possible outputs are: if the entered character is B, it will display character entered is not A, and entered character is A, character entered is A. Next comes nested if-else. There are many situations where we need to check multiple conditions. If this is true, what? Again, in there we check if it is true, what? So there we require nested if-else, where we check multiple conditions and execute the respective statements. Here follows the syntax: if condition, statements to be executed if condition 1 is true, else it will check for the second condition and execute the statement, else it will execute a statement if both the conditions are false. Here is the flow chart. First it will check for condition 1. If it is true, it will execute the statement. If it is false, it will check for the second condition. If that is true, it will execute the respective statement. If that is false, it will execute the statement. Here, if it checks the first condition and executes the statement, it will directly jump outside the loop and it will not check for the second condition. Here comes the example where we check char print. We ask the user to enter a character and check if it is a capital A or a capital B and respectively enter. If it is A, it will check character entered is A and it will come out of the loop. Else it will check if the character entered is B and then it will print character entered is B and it will come out of the loop. Else, if both the conditions are not true, that is if the user has not entered A or B, then it will print character entered is not A or B. So the respective output are enter a character. So if the user enters A, it will display character entered is A. If the user enters B, it will display character entered is B. If the user enters something else except A and B, the character entered is not A or B. We have the switch case. Here we use switch case when we have multiple options the user can select. That is, we have, like for an example, a menu card. We first have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is, and then we choose one respectively, then we have another menu that is displayed. Similarly, the switch case is there. We use the switch case construct in the situations where we decide what needs to be done based on the variable the user enters. The syntax is switch case, that is switch, within parentheses we write the variable that is passed, and then we write case 1, case 2, case n, where 1, 2 and n are the variable options that is displayed and is passed. If none of the cases are applicable, the default statement is executed. In switch case, the break is compulsory. Every case needs to be breaked. That is, the statement after that need not be executed and the switch case will end there. This is the flowchart of the switch case. First, it will check if case 1 is true. Then it will execute the statement. If no, it will check for case 2. If no, it will check. Similarly, it goes on checking till case n. If nothing is true, it will execute the default one and come out of the loop. Example. Here we check if the entered character is a vowel or not. Then here we accept a character from the user. We check if it is A, we check if it is E, we check if it is I, if O, U, or if it is none of these. So these are the possible outputs. If the character entered is E, it will display enter character is a vowel E. Other option is enter a character in a lowercase, that is G, which is not a vowel, so it will display the default statement, which is entered character is not a vowel. Now coming to loop constructs, that is while loop. When do we use while loop? In where the number of iterations to be performed is not known. We make the changes as per the idea we get from the user. That is, it also the iterations are to be performed until the specific conditions become false. And this is the syntax: while condition, body of the loop. Flowchart follows like this. That is, it evaluates the condition, then it will execute the loop, again it will evaluate the condition, and it will keep executing the loop till the condition stands false. This is an example for while loop. We have main character A, x0, A is put blank, where we enter a number and it checks if x is equal to A, that is, it will display the number of times the user enters the number. I love C language. Output is enter a number. For example, the user enters 4. It will 4 times display I love C language. Do while loop. Here, it is used in a situation where the set of statements needs to be executed at least once, and then it has to check a condition depending which condition changes within the loop, depending till it is false. This is the syntax: do, body of the loop, and then the condition is checked. Flowchart follows. It will first execute the body of the loop, then check for the condition. If it is true, it will again execute the body of the loop, else it comes out of the loop. Example, main. Here we display a menu 1, 2, 3, 4, and depending upon 1, 2, 3, 4, here we use a switch case, which is a conditional construct for entering the choice and accepting the choice of the user. Depending on the choice the user enters, it will execute the respective statement. So these are the possible outputs. Menu 1, 2, 3, 4. User enters 2. It displays you chose 2. Output 2. Menu 1, 2, 3, 4. If by mistake the user enters something except 1, 2, 3, 4, it again displays the menu 1, 2, 3, 4. Next comes the for loop. For loop is superior and more powerful than the other constructs in C language. The construct provides the compact way of specifying the statements that control repetition of the steps within the loop. The syntax is very compact, which says for it, and it does the initialization. It checks the condition, or it increments or decrements the initialized variable. In while loop, we do the same increment or decrement within the body of the loop. Flowchart follows. This is the working of the for loop. It first initializes and then it executes the condition. If it is true, it will enter the body of the loop. It will reinitialize, that is, it will increment or decrement, and then again evaluate the condition. And if it is false, it will exit from the loop. This is an example for loop. It will accept, this program will accept a number from the user and display the numbers within that range starting from 0. Enter a number. If the user enters 2 as an example, numbers from 0 to 2 are 0, 1 and 2. These are the conditional constructs and the loop constructs, which are the simple constructs which are used in C language. There are many other constructs which can be used in C language, which will be discussed in the next session. Thank you.